Hi, I'm David Saville, creator of Becoming Superhuman. I'm a life coach, but rather than just asking questions, I challenge my clients in a way that creates radical transformation in a single session. I'm currently launching my signature program, Becoming Superhuman, as a series of immersive events, online courses, and live adventures to help you handle anything, create anything, and choose to be powerful. I want to raise global standards by training leaders to do meaningful work and to do what's right. Leaders of companies, leaders of countries, rippling throughout the world, creating a future generation of children who embrace risk, naturally help others, and seek to live lives that mean something. Welcome to Becoming Superhuman. Today we're going to be exploring the fragility of life and how it can be so much more. We often forget how beautifully fragile it is, and we can get lost in our daily lives thinking that we're ordinary, thinking that life just is. And you'll see this on the train, you'll see this if you go to work on the commute. Most people on that train are not thinking how beautiful this life is and how they can get the drop out of every moment. And it's just because they're missing out, they're missing the point. They're deluding themselves as to what life is in this moment. They're forgetting. They've got sucked into the patterns of life, almost like on hold. Like when you ever get in a lift and you're with people and you've got a group full of people in this lift who don't know each other and are barely looking at each other and barely talking. It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's like we're on hold. Life's going to just pause right now. I don't exist. Life doesn't exist. I'm waiting for those doors to open so I can exist again. And this is the kind of the patterning which is endemic to us, which I want to break through. I want to help you break through, and I'm going to explore that today. So before I get into that, I want to share something very cool I've got coming up. So in January, I'm going to be launching the very first, it's the pilot online group program, 10-day Becoming Superhuman Challenge. It's going to be the first immersive online event of its kind that I've done, and it's going to be taking a group of people within their ordinary lives and helping them become the superhuman version of themselves. It's going to be very, very cool. If you're interested in that, comment below or send me a private message and I'll send you the details when they're ready. I'm so drawn to this work, and there are many reasons for that. As well as like the rapid transformations I've had in my life from the failings that I'd been through, the things that I'd screwed up and had to face to be able to then make these changes that have been lasting and expanding. And for me, I don't want people to go through that. It's really important. There's no need to have tragedy happen for you to wake up. And a lot of people don't even wake up then, unfortunately, because of the pain of that. But it's like you don't need to. Just pay attention. Just look at life slightly differently. Live your life slightly differently, and it changes rapidly, it changes radically, and your entire experience of life can change very, very fast. This is normal. This is like every session that I have with a client is transformative in a deeply profound way that ripples out for the rest of their lives, every single one. Why is that? It's because it's not because I am so amazing at what I do, though I am very good at it. It's because it's waiting to burst out of people. It's just there waiting to emerge, and I'm just very expert at helping it emerge. That's it. And so, but you watching this, for what I'll be sharing in this video, you'll be able to go away and do something. You'll be able to see life differently and do something different as a direct result of this. It's why I'm called to do it. It's like on Sunday, for instance, I was with a friend of mine, and it was a day spent connecting to the intentions for life. It's like, what do we want our lives to become? And for the entire day, from like 10 in the morning till 10 at night, we were having deep conversations. We were connecting to our dreams, things we want to achieve, the connections we want to have. All of the, every part of life was covered. There's nothing laid hidden at all. And we were, really getting, asking each other questions and challenging each other and really getting deep into what life could be. It was beautiful and deeply transformative. And through that day, something came up for me, something that occurred to me that I've been aware of and I've spoken about, but it really connected to the feeling of it. And that is this fragility, the fragileness of life, the fragility of life. It's, illness, death, pain. These things are all around us all of the time. The people are dying and in serious pain all of the time. Everyone we know will perish, and we will too, right? We know this. And we tend to live our lives as if that's not going to happen. People talk about comfort zones, right? There's no such thing. Life is dangerous on a daily basis. We are living through this. We walk this line where any day we could no longer be here. and yet we live our lives as if that's not happening. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Feel free to do that. It's important to know what strikes a chord with you. What matters to you, because that helps me to create more of these and to help more people. But it's we're walking this edge where we pretend life is going to last forever, like we're in some kind of computer game, where it's okay, we just reset if things go wrong. Whereas actually, we just don't know. We don't know what life has in store. And then because many of us are unprepared for life, when things do go bad, we feel overwhelmed and unable to deal with it, right? Because we're not really connected to how fragile and beautiful life is, and how incredible it is too. So it's important not to get caught up in the negative aspects of it. This is why it's important for me to do this. Like, I realised on Sunday, like last week, I didn't do a live video. I didn't do any new posts either. So I wasn't talking about becoming superhuman. I wasn't sharing these ideas. I was just dabbling in a few little things. And the reason was because I was coaching and doing a lot of coaching work. So I was doing some deep work with people. I was also doing some deep body work. I was also spending time with my mum and my dogs and friends, and all with good reasons, right? There's very good reasons. I had a very full life week last week. However, that means that there are many people who perhaps are not living their superhuman lives that they could be, or even close to the extraordinary life they could have, and didn't get to hear something from me to do that. Now, of course, it's not for everyone, right? Some people are not going to care what I have to say, and it's not for you. If you don't care, then I don't know why you're watching this, to be truthful. But if it is, right, and if it matters to you, if it resonates with you in some way, then I actually feel it's my duty now to make sure that I'm here, to become like a fixture in people's lives. So it's like, well, I'm going to keep sharing these things with you. If it's for you, great. If it's not for you, that's okay too. But I'm going to be here to do this because there's so much rubbish out there. There's so many like misunderstandings. I mean, just the other day, actually, there was in this coaching group, in one of these posts by Paulo Coelho, I can never say his name properly, and it's something like the only limit to success is the fear of failure, right? So essentially, like the only way you can't achieve what you want, that's right. The only thing you can't achieve the impossible is a fear of failure, right? And it's like, sounds great maxim. People liking it. I'm like, hang on a second. That's not true. That's not true at all. There are many real, tangible reasons why you may fail at things, why we may fail at things. There's real limitations. There's physical limitations, there's psychological limitations, there's emotional limitations, there are practical limitations like location. There's many reasons why we might fail. Now, fear of failure also isn't a barrier. Fear of failure is just fear of failure. You might be afraid of it. Doesn't mean you have to change your behavior because you're afraid of it. So there's lots of these things that sound great, but when you pull them apart, they don't actually mean anything. And it's like, I want to pull this apart for you and and extract it and share it. Thank you very much for the loves. Thank you for that. Because there's so much around that people aren't really having the depth of thought on. And it makes sense because people are busy, right? You're not always as busy to spend the time I do, like thinking, like going through the process steps of the structure underneath. Wow, that's a lot of loves. Thank you very much. It's my job to go through, extract the deeper lessons, and then to be able to share them with you, to shortcut that stuff, right? I wish I'd have had this, oh God, if I'd have had this 7-8 years ago, I wouldn't have had the same experience I had with my father and all that stuff that led me here. I mean, for me, of course, I needed to have that to be led here, but the point is, that's what I'm here. So on Sunday, during this day, as I'm connecting to everything I want in life, what I want in life is to be here for you, be here for the people that I care about, and to be this voice, sharing the things that I share, pulling apart the nonsense that's out there and sharing stuff that's actually practical, that's based upon me actually testing this stuff out. I've worked with hundreds of people deeply and tested them out deeply. I was actually coaching a coach earlier today, and we were talking about how he could create the foundation for his business. And the reality is, he's a beginner. He hasn't coached anywhere near enough people yet. And so there's a depth of work to be had. And when you do that, it's like your own experiment, your own laboratory, and you get to find out not just what works for myself, because obviously it has to go through me first, but it goes through you. And so that's a commitment. So I decided to commit to connecting to the fragility of life and just really appreciating how fragile it is. Like with my dogs, they're not going to be here forever, right? And to really appreciate them and to spend time with them and connect with their spark of life, with my mum, with my friends, to really connect to how fragile this all is. and to be my best, to be the best I can be when I'm around them, and best for myself too, right? To my own fragile life, to keep raising the bar. That's why becoming superhuman is so important, because we can be way more than we are. And it's a daily dedicated practice that makes that happen. As I shared with someone who is considering being a client, we're going to find out, I needed to check in with her about it's extraordinary life happens woven into your everyday life. You can't just do something once a week and your life become extraordinary. That's not how this works. You weave it into your everyday, you know, and the only way you can weave it into your everyday is if you make it more important than your career, more important than the way your life is. You know, this to make a better life, that has to be your top priority for it to work, and you have to bring your attention to it in the morning and carry that through your day. And a way that I find is important to do that is just to connect to this fragility, to connect to the fragility that is in with all of us. In fact, at the moment, consider the people in your life that you care about. Consider the fact that they are living very finite lives, and that their experience of life, whatever it may be, is going to come to an end. And then consider, are you being your best when you're with them? Are you stepping up as far as you can? Michael, has to be every day. Damn right, because life is every day. And what if tomorrow doesn't come and we've waited? You know, I've most of my life was spent waiting, you know, thinking it'd be okay, rushing through life. You know that speeding up feel that people have when they're like, oh no, Christmas has come around again. It seems like life's moving fast. That's actually because you're not paying attention enough in your life. You're living life like on Groundhog Day, where you're doing the same things. So your brain then goes, well, I don't need to remember all of this stuff because it's the same. I'm going to lump 100 days into one day. And so life moves rapidly. But when you bring this attention to your life, life slows down. You know, a day feels like a week feels like a month, you know, a month feels like a year. I mean, and this isn't a maxim. This is what I've experienced and my clients experience as they're transforming their life. We were just having a conversation the other day, actually, noticing that. They came to, some of my clients came to a talk I did on the Monday, and we were speaking on the Friday or Saturday. It's like, we can't believe that it was only on Monday of that week, because it felt like months ago. Not just because of our own lives, but the conversations we've been having. Their lives have transformed so much from that Monday to the Saturday. You know, it's like, life can change radically and change fast, and we get to be more. We get to become so much more, and connecting to the fragility, and also connecting to the lack of fragility within us. Although life is fragile, we as individuals are not as fragile as we think we are. We have far more within us than we realise. And that's why I'm dedicated to this becoming superhuman. So if this is resonating, you know, if this makes sense to you, and you want to start next year, like, fuck resolutions, you know, become superhuman. You know, if you want to do that, just put a comment below or message me and let me know that you're interested in my 10-day Becoming Superhuman challenge that'll be running in January. It'll be fucking awesome. It'll be the most powerful online training I've ever done. I've done some pretty damn good ones. This is going to be the best ever, because it brings everything focused into 10 days, 10 challenges, escalating to permanent life transformation within those 10 days. 10 days of transformation, by the way. Each day you get to transform yourself. It's fucking cool. So yeah, if you're interested in that, let me know. Then I'll let you know the details once they're ready. So when it comes to this stuff, it's almost like change is waiting to burst out. It's just waiting there. And there are certain key things that seem to do this. So one seems to be dancing, right? It seems to be a regular one, right? I did my 100 days of dancing, and within a few days of doing that, which was recording myself dancing, which was very uncomfortable, by the way. If you want to check out what I did, and some others, hashtag 100, like 100 days of dancing. Check that out on Facebook, you will see. You can actually see how uncomfortable and weird I look on some of them, and you can see it change. You know, I've actually looked back, I can see the moments of transformation within them. It's extraordinary, actually. And I've challenged many clients to do this, one recently. So I got him to do public dancing. So that was just somewhere publicly to dance for like 2 minutes was the rule. He did that. Very uncomfortable, hated the whole experience because, you know, he wasn't enjoying that. However, just a few days later, when he was out at a party, suddenly he noticed, we didn't notice it at the time actually, but he noticed afterwards, he wasn't as self-conscious. He was able to dance, he was able to connect with people in a way that he wasn't before. 2 minutes changed a deeper experience that lasted for hours, which obviously will be expanded out for the rest of his life. It's all it takes. Because there's a chain reaction that happens. That's why daily is so important, to do small things every day and an occasional big one. Because it only takes a minute or two to have an experience that changes the way you think, changes the way you feel, changes the way you see things, and life opens up as a result. Neurologically, we don't see most of the world around us because our brains would get overloaded, right? We don't take most of it in. We only ever focused on very specific things. There's so much we don't see. So by doing this, we actually expand our awareness, which means we get to see more. Opportunities open up that you wouldn't have had before. You'd be amazed, because you cannot know how much of your neurology and biology and physiology is narrowed the way we're living. We're holding back so much. Holding back, right? The posture, how people stand, how people move and walk, how we speak, the words that come out of our mouths. We're what's Dave said? 100 Days of Dancing sounds like it isn't. Yeah, that is a very good experiment, by the way. 100 Days of Dancing. Just record yourself dancing, post it on Facebook. Hashtag 100 Days of Dancing. It's a very cool thing, created by Kristen, actually. 3 years ago this was when I did it. It's phenomenal and life transforming. It really is. So I strongly recommend it. Again, little challenge. Why not start now, right? Why not end the year changing your life? Because the other thing it does, it changes more than just your ability to dance in front of people. It changes how self-conscious you are, which, when you change how self-conscious you are, can change the words you speak, can change the things you do. These things are interconnected and interwoven. And that's why if you can involve your body in these transformational tools, things change rapidly, because we are an entire being. We are not brains in jars. It's why the old sitting in a chair therapy, it's limited in its actions, because your life isn't sitting in a chair, right? Or laying down on a couch, how the hell people do it these days. So with regards to this, it's like you open up so much for yourself by challenging yourself in this way. The chain reaction of opportunities. I remember once, after I've been doing this for a couple of weeks, I then went to like a Sarot class, which is like French jive, and then afterwards I was practicing in the train station. I was just doing a little bit of practice. I'm terrible at it, by the way. I didn't ever get to any good standard because I didn't enjoy it to challenge myself enough with it. But I was doing the moves because I was interested in it. And this woman comes up to me and she thought I was a professional dancer, and we had a good old conversation. We connected and hung out a little bit afterwards. So you just never know what changes within you. And now I dance like a fool wherever I am and make all kinds of weird friends as a direct result. And so, but it's far more than that. Actually, it also helped in my public speaking. It helped in my physicality on stage, being able to use more of my space there too. If you're a coach watching this, that you should be able to dance in public. It's like, if you're a coach, you should be self-coaching and you should be challenging yourself in this way. It's like a basic. And so any coaches watching this, now you've got this, you have to do it, right? Or a version of it. You have to do something that challenges your self-consciousness. Because as a coach, you kind of need to burn out your self-consciousness, because you need to be able to pay attention to people in a way that means you don't exist, which means you can't be self-conscious. And so you need to challenge yourself in a way that burns out any self-consciousness. So that's what I recommend. Now, when it comes to holding ourselves back, it's so subtle. You cannot know how the words, even the things you're willing to share. I've done so many talks, workshops, experiences, retreats, and all these things where people share with each other. And every time, people are holding back what they're sharing. They are choosing what they can share. So I'll give a topic to share. Could be anything. Could be something you're scared of, right? People will filter it and go, I can't share that, but I'll share this. And they choose the safe option. Even though I'm challenging them, so they may upgrade that option slightly, there'll still be, for most people, some kind of gauge, some kind of choice happening. It's a lot of waste of energy occurring there to decide. How are you going to know how it's going to be received anyway? You have to make an assumption, a judgment on who this person is. You have to then make a judgment about yourself and about what you've done. And then you have to decide, does what I did match this person? And then you have to share it with them, whatever you think it is, and guess. It's just a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work. And I recommend burning that out. So when it comes to all of these challenges, it changes who you are, it changes the way you communicate, it changes what you can create. Because when you haven't got all this stuff in your way, that's when the spark of connection happens quickly. That's when you can create jobs, you can create clients, and everything you want in life, friendships, relationships, all these things might happen much faster and much deeper and with the right kind of people for you when you burn this stuff out. It's well worth it. Now, my work, right? Every single session is life transforming. It's what I bring to. It's the only thing that interests me about working with people, right? If I'm going to work with you, I want to know your life is going to begin changing from this moment on. I don't want to mess around having like a chat. I want to know that you're willing to do the work and that you're willing to be challenged by me, and your life's going to transform forever as a result of every conversation, right? It's a cool thing. And because of that, the people I work with, their lives change rapidly. Even then, because I've got one client in particular, right, changed, ridiculously. She's just evolved so many times. And yet recently, she set herself this challenge of this competition. And the competition is a big challenge, right, way beyond anything she'd ever done. She'd have to challenge herself physically. It's going to be like an emotional challenge, being around these people, competing in this way. And it was very scary. And so it seemed like, wow, that's a great challenge. It's way beyond anything she'd ever done. And she's like, cool. So the initial response was fantastic. Then she mentioned something about another competition, like it was a different layer. It was a same sport, but it was a slightly different competition. And I'm like, what's that? It was just called something slightly different. What's that all about? So she posted what that was all about. And I looked at it and I'm like, So you've got a beginner's competition essentially, which is for anyone at any level who's done, you could have done nothing and you could be in this competition. And she's actually been training for over a year now. So I'm like, so she could potentially be one of the better ones in this class, right? Which is good, but there could be more. And the other class though, that's for professionals. That's for people who, sure, it's at every level, but the beginning is beginner, professional beginner. So that's a different standard right there. That one, being around professionals, that's a different challenge altogether. That's a much more that will grow her much faster, right? Because not only on the actual day of the competition, which is in a few months from now, but what the work she'd need to put in on a daily basis from now to be able to even be up to the basic standard is phenomenal. And so it's like, be one of the better ones in the beginners, or be one of the worst ones, but have to challenge yourself and raise your standards so far that you have to become someone else. You have to become more of yourself. You have to train yourself and put in the time, dedication and effort to even come close to being part of that. So that's the challenge. And I helped her upgrade that challenge. She had to decide to go for it, of course, but that's the challenge. But she kept herself. She kept herself based upon where she was now, based upon her where she is right in this moment, not considering but not deeply enough. In 5 months from now, where could she be in 5 months? 5 months of dedication. Then we explored, okay, what current work are you doing on this? The answer was half hour to an hour a day. I'm like, well, that's not enough. You care deeply about this. Well, that's not enough. She has time, by the way. She works for herself, so she can easily carve out 2 or 3 hours a day on something she cares this deeply about. So it's like, great. Are you willing to do that? Do you care enough? Are you willing to become someone else by meeting this challenge? By the way, scared the crap out of her. It was terrifying and beautiful as well, because as terrifying as it was, almost like making her feel sick because it's so challenging, she stepped up and she's like, she knows the value of this. Because when you set yourself a challenge that is impossible for you, that you don't have a clue how you can get there, but you put in the work, by saying yes to it and by stepping into it, you become so much more. It changes you. It doesn't matter if she gets there and is the worst in the class. It doesn't even matter. Who she has to become to get to that class, someone else. It's not someone else is in a different person, but someone else is in someone more, someone deeper, someone with greater resilience and ability and passion and just living through her dreams, right? This is a dream of hers for years. That's who she becomes by going for it. The outcome is never it. People often make the mistake of living our lives for a single event, a single day. It's like, well, it's one day. What about all these months before then? We're talking 150 days. You get to immerse yourself in this world. You get to challenge yourself and become, what's 150 days of becoming superhuman? What would that do for her? Physically, psychologically, emotionally. She'll become a far greater version of herself. That's the kind of challenge. And that's where it doesn't, and the thing is, right, why would it matter if she fails? Only like the illusion of judgment, of criticism from others, because to try and fail at things is kind of normal. You know, it's unlikely she's going to succeed and be the best in the class. And it's not about that. It's about being the best of herself that she's ever been. And that's a way to do that. And that's the way to navigate our lives, to continually upgrade things, to really reach beyond, to get to, and that's why it's so important daily as well, to increase incrementally to stop holding back incrementally on a daily basis. So, you know, in the conversations you have, you know, you say something a bit more vulnerable that you wouldn't normally share. You ask for more responsibility within your job, even though you don't know that you can handle it. You go for that pay rise, even though you don't think you've earned it yet, but you step up to become that person who could. You know, it's those challenges. You know, it's saying to your partner that you want to be a better husband, better wife, better, you know, whatever. And you want to raise the standards of the relationship, and then doing that, you know, doing the work required. So every part of life is open to this, and that's why connect to the fragility, connect to how fragile beauty of life and everything in it, and then we get to connect to the extraordinary within us, so we don't waste it. Because if this was the last moment of your life, right? If you knew that in a few moments your life was not going to exist anymore, would you waste this moment? Would you stick on the telly? Would you eat too much? Would you smoke and drink, you know, numb yourself to life? Or would you want to get every drop out of this experience? Would you want to savor, you know, this incredible life that we've got right now? Hopefully you would. And it's more than that as well, because it's not just about you, it's about the people around you too. So I see this as a duty. You know, I used to think differently. Like when I started out coaching and all of this stuff, I would be like, right, everyone's got to change. And of course, that's stupid. One, I wasn't really embodying it anyway. So I was talking and trying to get people to do things I wasn't really living through. So that's lacked integrity there. Plus the fact I was going, well, you know, you're not good enough as you are, and all this kind of layers of things. So that was not cool. So coming away from that was a very good thing. But now I've evolved into a different place. It's like, do you know what? The people in my life, I care about them deeply. If I see them struggling, it's not okay for me to let them struggle. It may be, we may have to have difficult conversations. It may be a series of them over a long period of time. You know, there's no rush for any of this. But I think as a duty, if we see someone we love in pain, to do our best to help that person, to be honest with that person. Thank you for the loves, by the way, if you feel that too. And it's hard, by the way. We risk them upsetting them, we risk risking the relationship. It's like, do you care enough about this person to risk the relationship? To help them to get every drop out of their life? To get them out of their patterns so they're actually living to their highest of their ability? I think we need to. But of course, the first thing we need to be doing is doing it for ourselves. You know, that's why I'm so passionate about become the superhuman version of ourselves. And whilst doing that, we get to inspire others to do the same. You know, it's the greatest thing we can ever do is to lead by example. And then people tend to want to come with us. Not everyone, of course, that's not true. Of course they won't. But we give it the best chance. So I see it as a duty now, you know, to connect to what life is, and then to help the people around us connect to what life is as well. Don't let them rush through their life and waste it. You know, if we care about them deeply, let's help them do that. So that's my invitation to you, to stop holding back yourself. Notice where you hold back, even just physically. Notice how you stand. Notice how you move. Stretch your zone around you. You know, use your space better. Challenge yourself not to hold back verbally, physically. You know, even like how you think. Don't hold back your dreams for what's possible for you. You know, a lot of you will be thinking about 2019, right? And what you're going to do. Hopefully you are. In fact, I was having a message exchange with someone, and I tend to swear, you know, from time to time, and I was just like, what the fuck are you going to do with 2019? You know, what the fuck do you want your year to be? So apologies if the swearing bothers you, but it's like, sometimes swearing is a good thing. Swearing sometimes, you know, shocks people out of something. And it's like, what do you want to get out of this year? What do you want to get out of the rest of this year? So rather than even thinking about next year, right, we have, like a week left of this year. What do you want to get out of this year? How do you want to make the most of today, tomorrow, and all the days leading up to the New Year's Eve of this year? Use every drop. Connect to the fragility of your life when you wake up in the morning. Decide who's important to you. Connect to them. Step up, step forward. Challenge yourself to stop holding back and see what happens. Notice what happens if you do this for a couple of weeks. Your life will transform. And you'll notice things around you transforming too. Okay, that is my invitation to you. I hope you accept it. So thank you. Thank you for being here. I love doing this. And as I said earlier in this, my commitment to you is to do this every week, to do a live video, to do more posts, really connecting to how you can become the superhuman version of yourself. Because the reality is only a handful of people can ever work with me in a year, right? It's not that many. So it's like, well, I want to reach as many people as possible. So actually, that's a good point. If there's anyone that you know who could benefit from this, please share it with them. Share with them and help them to stop holding back and to live their best lives too. If it makes sense to them, they will thank you for it. Thank you for being here. If you want to take this further, if you want to dedicate 10 days in January to becoming the superhuman version of yourself, where I'll get to coach you, I'll get to challenge you, it's a part of my pilot superhuman online training in January, where we're going to have some fun together. You're going to transform within your life. You get coaching from me, which is thousands normally, for a few days, for a couple of $100, whatever it will be. If you're interested in that, post in the comments, message me privately, and I'll let you know when it's ready. I'll send you the details. So thank you for being here. Step into the superhuman version of yourself and join me on the next episode of Becoming Superhuman. Thank you.